ready for college signing day? I said, are y'all ready for college signing day? All right, cool. Alright, without further ado, let's give it up for James Winger. The college he's signing to, Ivy Tech Community College.
I think it's a game.
I came up from nothing.
Next we have Isaiah Fuller. Isaiah Fuller will be attending Ivy Tech Community College. Let's give it up for Stephen Riddle and Brandon Israel. Both will be attending Ball State University. Next we have Damaya Mitchell. Damaya will be attending the Purdue University. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next we have Denia McGee, Terry Richardson, Atoria Flowers, and Isaiah Millsap. Next we have Alexander House, Curtis Gill, Xavier McPherson, and Terrence Lewis.
Watch out, oh watch out, oh watch out, yeah. I smash out, I smash out, I smash out.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Kanaya Jones.
JD Flyboy.
Get here. It's safe to say that I'ma take the cake for this year. I would say try again.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Trinity Newell and Zania Smith.
I be feeling like the man when I walk through. I ain't stunning what you saying when I walk through. I got all these boys staring when I walk through. I done make a few bands when I walk through. Watch me, hey, watch me walk through. Watch me, hey, watch me walk through. Watch me, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Serenity Williams, Aaliyah Hopkins, Nevaeh Tober, Shania McCullough, and Laura Pope. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for James Hayes and Cortland Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, Vawan Young.
Get here. Had to walk a whole lot of miles to get here. It's safe to say that I'ma take the cake for this year. I would say try.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Rayford, Lewis Marshall, Dennis Ross, and Tremel Williams.
You a street boy that don't even come outside. Get my screen sweeping corners, come and pick my trash up. Made it rain in the club, picking cash up. Big body rims rub, but it's a fast truck. Brian Earl like a you know I got my sacks up. 4 in this Q7 in the truck.
Let's give it up for Kanye Maxey, and Ismael Rodriguez.
You know I'm up like a do you know we ain't like it. Do not run up some bag and have it. You know the money gon' come with the madness. And what I claim gon' come with the baggage. We have the cutters, we come with the hatches. For them gas switches, they come with the gadgets. Fake energy, captain, be capping. We do this shit that the rappers be rapping.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Braylon Stacker.
Fellowship, let's go.
My testimony is real. I came this far.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Nevaeh Taylor.
I don't mind letting you down easy, but just give it time. If it don't hurt now, but just wait a while. And not the big fish in the pond, no more.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Anaya Broussard and Destiny Williams.
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Darion Morris. Hey, that's for the 99 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Christian Boswell Bell, Brandon Strange, and Reggie Cass. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Emmanuel Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Bryant and Joshua Crawford.
Shawty block, she cannot die out.
All right.
You can't touch this. Nigga running like gingerbread. She's strange called Dustin. Partisan can't feel my head.
Ladies and gentlemen, Atavia Turner and Kiana Danzy.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom, getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a cigar tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cassius Banks.
So let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jaquan Wiggins. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicole Stewart, Shamaria Harbin, Layla Smith.
I keep my head high. I got my wings to carry me. I don't know freedom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kyla Jones, Kamaya Hunter, Nanija Hodges.
And now they always say congratulations. Worked so hard, forgot how to vacation. They ain't never had the dedication. People hate and say we changing, look we.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jaden Allen, Zanaya Money, and Zion Beecham.
I can't get over my pain, make you feel better. Niggas I know won't make you feel better. This a lifestyle that I live with these different.
Ladies and gentlemen, Napoleon Williams.
Hold up, wait a minute. I was finished. When I bought the Aston Martin, I thought it was rented. Flexing on these, I'm like Popeye on the spinach. Double M, yeah, that's my team. Rose, the captain, I'm lieutenant. I'm the type can the mean casting grind like I'm broke.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry Fruit Trail and Alexis
I declare I
Atkins.
decree any chain that has been holding me, any evil tongue that whispers in these ears, I said I rebuke you. You must leave my life. You are not welcome here. Lose your grip and
Ladies and gentlemen, Keyshawn Marshall, Nevaeh Woodbury, and Tanaya Patterson. Gentlemen, Kamaya Elders, Victoria Dunnigan, and Anaya Collins.
Love yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trinity Holcomb.
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Dunn.
From the bottom of the map, came up right with his scrap. Iron on his lap, one false move, get whack. Got the whole hood on his back, and then just like that. Put my in the trap. Pray to God we all make it back. Pray we all make it back. Gotta pray we all make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carrington Jones.
This the real one, baby. Chi-town stand up. Southside, Southside, we gon' set this party off right. Westside, we gon' set this party.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ronald Mosley, Terrence Hayes Jr., Mitrail Harbin, Jacoby Donaldson.
This edit was made by Luca.
Triplett.
All white like I'm Missa, I got TZ in my switch. I dropped 2 cups in August, why that mixtape too official. Got 2 of everything, 2 watches, 2 chains, and 2 pistols. Not just 2 pistols, 2 crystal. Extend those long and pistol.
And let's give it